Okay, Year 11s, in this exercise, there's only 3 questions, and I thought I'd go through the work solution. You're welcome to just read it and go for it yourself, that's fine. For some of you, you might like uh, audible teaching. So, it says how far is the point? So P is the point on the wheel, which is given by the rule. So even though it's saying point P, it's like the distance. D, I'm thinking of distance. So when t equals 0, we're trying to find out what the distance is. So d equals 100 minus 60 cos 4 pi on 3 times by 0. So d will be 100 minus 60 cos of 0. Now, for those of you that have gone, oh, well, that's 0 times 60, because the reality, remember, our cos graph starts at 1. So that means at cos of 0, it actually equals 1. So d will be 100 minus 60, which equals 40. And it says that it's in centimetres, so 40 centimetres. Part B, how long does it take for it to rotate once? When we're rotating a wheel, that's a way of saying the period. So the period, remember, was 2 pi over n. And in this case, we end up with 2 pi over 4 pi on 3. Remember, if we divide by a fraction, so 2 pi on 1, change it to multiply and flip the fraction. That's over 4 pi. Dividing by a fraction, change the divide to a times and flip the second one. 4 into 2 into 2 once, 2 into 4, 2. The pi's cancel, so it actually equals 3 on 2. So it takes 3 on 2 seconds, 3 on 2 seconds to rotate once. Part C, find the maximum and minimum distances. Okay. Bit of logic here. I'm not sure how the book does it, but basically I know that cos goes to a maximum of 1 and goes to a minimum of -1. There's no vertical translation, so that's the case. So the maximum will be when cos 4 pi on 3 t equals 1. So in other words, its maximum will be 100 minus 60. And then the minimum should be when cos of 4 pi on 3 t equals -1. And so we get 100 minus -60. In actual fact, when we work that through, that becomes 160 and that becomes 40. So my initial premise was wrong. Putting in a 1, it gives me an absolute value, as in which is going to be either a high or a low. But when we logically work it out, the minimum will be 40 centimeters and the maximum will be 160 centimeters. Part D, sketch the graph against t. Now when sketching this graph, we know that it has a minimum at 40, it has a maximum at 160. We also know that we have a point of 0, 40, so that's our starting point, and we know that we have a period of 3 on 2. So if I think of it that way, midway between 160 and 40, so 160 plus 40 is 200, divided by 2 is 100. So 100 is our midway. If 3 pi on 2, that's a pretty ugly 3 pi on 2, there's 3 pi on 2. We have minimum here with a cos graph. If you remember cos, it goes a negative cos, so it'll be up and down. we can do it by using a series of points. I don't mind if you use your graphics calculator to help you to find the points, but the fact that it's a full period means that it's back to here at the end, and we have a halfway point, which would be 3 on 4. So at 3 on 4, we'll be at a maximum value, and halfway between each of those will be crossing the line. And so that's what our graph will look like. And of course, it will repeat after the fact. Hit down here. When you double that, it'll hit again at 3. So that's part D. Don't be afraid to use your graphics calculator to help you work these things out as well. And lucky last, in the first rotation, find the intervals of time when the point P is less than 70 meters above the ground. So 70 is halfway there, so find basically these points. Now I'd like you to use your calculator, and you can find the intercept, so you can actually put in the formula y equals 100 minus 60 cos 4 pi on 3x, and put in the line y equals 70. And then you find the intercepts between those two lines. And that'll be a really good exercise for you with working it out. Now, that's what I'd like you to do to find it. You can do it other ways. And I'm going to leave you to work on that and ask me for help in class on how to use your graphics calculator to do that, or look up YouTube's. And the YouTube you'd look up is, I'll put YouTube, you put up finding intercepts on, and we are pretty much, most of you are using Texas TI 84 or some version like that. If you put in your brand of your calculator, you'll find a YouTube to tell you how to find the intercepts of lines. Very important that you learn how to do that. Okay, enjoy.